Welcome back to the Drivers Room podcast, and this week's episode we have a pretty special guest, and we've shared that enough on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok who it's going to be, but it's 5-time British rally champion Jimmy McRae. How are we?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm good, yeah.
Here in plenty of time.
Sorry?
I said you were here in plenty of time.
No, I was a wee bit late, but I hadn't been reminded of the appointment, so it's not my fault.
No, I think we'll need to look at the staffing and change over that section. So you've never actually done a podcast before?
I have not.
So this is your first time.
This is new.
A virgin podcaster, so it's only your second time as well. So I wouldn't really worry about it. We don't, as I just said to you, we don't really do too much chit chatting outside. We just kind of get straight into the podcast. And what I want to know from you is, how did this whole legacy start? It obviously started with you, so tell us how we got Jimmy McRae Rallying, how all that started.
Well, it really started in bikes. I mean, when I was 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 16-year-old, I was into bikes, trials bikes and scrambles bikes, as they were called then, motocross. And I was at that for 2-3 years. Then I got, the lady that I married, I've been married now for quite a few years, she hated bikes. Absolutely hated bikes. And was that through the danger aspect, or was it the danger aspect? And one of the times she was at a motocross scramble down at Stonehouse, and a stupid guy in a bike came into the pits and fell off and landed on top of her, and so she hated bikes from there on. So then I had served my time in plumbing and heating, and I went on to be quantity surveyor in a Glasgow company, and it was from there then I took a notion of, what had really happened was that
the real stories is what we like.
What really happened there, I had the company that I was with in Glasgow, there were signs of it was going to go out of business. Right. So I bought into a small company in Lanark, a company called Alan Wallace Limited, and I obviously gave up bikes then because I didn't want to go out and get injured. But after a year there and things were going pretty well, I thought, right, I'm going to order a new bike. Well, Margaret McRae went berserk.
At the price of the fact that you were ordering new bikes?
It wasn't so much the price of the bike. It was going back into bikes again. And with friends, Tom Clark and Alan O'Neill, they were into rallying. And why don't you try rallying? Why don't you try? I said, I can't afford to rally. I can afford to go with bikes, but I can't afford to rally. But however, I bought a Mark 1 Cortina, 4-door Cortina, but it had the Lotus running gear in it. I bought it from Alan O'Neill, and we worked in that. It was then what happened after that. There was a petrol tanker strike, and all motorsport and everything was stopped. So we couldn't do it. So we had it for a couple of months before I could use it.
You used to run your motocross bikes on paraffin, so you would have had a wee bit of knowledge on how to get around that.
I'll tell you a story about that. The first bike I ever had was I was about 14-year-old, and a friend of my dad's had said there was this old Rudge, and if we could get it to go, I could have it. Right, so I got it. My father helped, obviously. Got it to go. Well, we run about the fields that much with it, and at the time, when you could buy 4 gallon of petrol for £1, that was expensive. So I've learned that you started it in petrol, then you run it in paraffin.
Very clever.
The only thing is, I wish I had that bike now. It would be worth thousands. Anyway, I think we wrecked it. But
so how quickly then did you go from sitting in the rally car to just having a play about to go, here, do you know what, I'm actually not bad at this?
Well, the first rally we did was a rally straight after the petrol tanker strike. It was the Arbroath Stages rally, and most of the Scottish Championship guys who hadn't done anything for a couple of months, they were all doing it. And I went with this Cortina. I think I was seeded at number 87 or something. And the first stage was like a farm stage. It was a farm road, and I thought, this is not very great. But then they took us into the forests, and I come out with a big smile on my face in the forest. I thought, oh, this is for me. And I finished 11th in my first ever rally. And the co-driver, David Brown, says, have you rallied before? I said, no, I've never rallied before, never rallied. I've never been played about in gravel, but never really did it.
But I'm known as the quickest plumber in Lanark.
I was. And that's basically how it started. I went 2 weeks after that, I went down and did the Border Counties rally, and I finished 5th with that car. Then I sold it at quite a good profit, actually, because it and I bought a Mark 1 twin cam Escort.
Yep.
And
is that the one that everybody was really sad to see go, because I think that was swapped for like a Vauxhall at the time?
It was everybody thought I was daft going away from Ford going to Vauxhall, but it paid off at the end. Well, but that car was what was it, VGA 4H, and went on from there. We won the Challengers Championship in the Scottish in our first year. That the Challenger is like non-expert, newcomers, non-expert.
Yep.
So I won that the first year, and basically, I then had a deal the following year with turbocharged Escort.
Right.
It went through. I think it was about 5 miles to set of pistons. It wasn't very reliable.
No.
And it was after that I decided that, I would look at something different. Everybody had Escorts.
Yeah.
And I thought, if to get noticed and through a friend, and I was told to go and see SMT in Perth, because they were pretty into rally. Well, the boss was a rally man himself, and it was arranged from there that I bought a standard road car through them from Vauxhall, and they converted it to Group 1 then, and that's how it started. The car, we won one rally with it, and then we won the Group 1, and I finished runner-up in the Scottish Championship overall.
Yeah.
And it was Andrew Cowan who won the championship that year. I was second in a Group 1 Vauxhall Magnum. And the following year I had a works drive.
Brilliant. Yeah. And how does it get from that point to where you're obviously paying for everything yourself up to this point, maybe have little sponsorships here and there, but I'm assuming most of the cost is still obviously covered by you. So how do we then get from that point to then getting a works drive? Obviously winning rallies is there, but do you have to go chapping on the doors of the day?
No, I had to go chapping on the doors. A lot of people, like our company then, Fairmac Metals, they were quite keen. They gave me, but you were getting, then you were asking for £50. Nowadays you're asking for £5,000.
Yeah.
And because I had done quite well in the Scottish Championship, Dunlop were giving me tyres, which is a big thing. And it just, I think a lot of people said I was stupid, that if I'd stuck to a Ford Escort, I might have had a Ford contract. But at the end of the day, there were that many other people, like Drew Gallagher and Andrew Cowan at one point was in a Ford Escort. There were a lot of people there. And I think I did the right thing by going to Vauxhall at that point.
And at this point, is the wife convinced now about rally driving, or is?
Yes, no, she was quite convinced that it was the right thing to do. And when she saw the smile on my face, she said, "I told you, don't buy another bike."
No, that's.
But I did have a few bikes after that, but they were just for a bit of fun.
Did you think? See, like, was there a point where you had to pick between doing either motocross or trials and rally, and like this is the one I'm sticking to, and this is it?
Oh, once, basically after the second rally, bikes was out my mind. I was concentrating on rallying.
Good. So, as I said to you just before we started this, we'll get questions from some fan groups and stuff that we posted out to. One coming from your secretary, Alan Shaw, and he's wanting to know it's like a two-part question. What's your favourite rally? And he wants to know the London to Sydney story. So, what's the favourite rally you've done?
I think the favourite rally's got to be the Circuit of Ireland. What was the Circuit of Ireland back in my days? because it was, like 5 days and 2 nights rally, and there would be between 500 and 600 stage miles, and you were the whole of Ireland, Northern Ireland, right down to Southern Ireland, right to the south. I mean, it was a real tough event. And the first time I did it in a Group 4 car, we actually led for quite a bit of the rally. But then I think the third last stage, the valve seat, one of the valve seats had gone on to 3 cylinders, but we still finished second, and that was my first time in a Group 4 car as well. So the circuit,
that would also be your favourite because you've won it 7 times.
Yeah, well, that's true as well. And I had the theory there that these long events, that and in these days there was no practice, there was no wrecking.
Right, okay.
It was a blind event. And a lot of co-drivers tried to read off the map, but that was dangerous. Yeah. And I just, you could go to different areas, in Belfast area in the north, but what's his name? Bertie Fisher would beat you. You would go somebody else would beat you. Yeah. On their own home ground, you could get beat.
They drive the roads every day.
I just settled in. Whenever I started doing it, I just said, right, well, concentrate and do it at your own speed, and do every stage at your own speed. You'll get guys that'll beat you. But what was happening, a lot of the foreigners, a lot of the very good drivers, World Championship drivers, came to do the rally as well, but when they were getting beat, they were all going flat out, then breaking the car or having damage, where I just kept at my own pace and went. One of the stories actually about that first rally I did with the Chevette, they wanted me, instead of my original co-driver David Brown, they wanted to put an Irish co-driver in with me.
Right.
And again, a blind event, you don't know where you're going, but he knew, he was from the north. Yeah. And about the third stage, I thought, he's quite good. All he was saying was, it's all right along here, or watch this, or watch that. Then one of the stories was that came along, and I thought, well, that's really quite good information I'm getting here. He said, turn left now. He says, up this hill. He says, it's narrow road, but it's absolutely flat out till you get to the farm. So I went up that road, absolutely flat out. Got to the farm, and I saw a T-junction in front of me. I thought, shit, this is not going to work. However, managed to get around with the skin of my teeth up the bank and down, and I got to the end of the stairs. I said, what do you mean flat out to the farm? I said, bloody hell, that was just about a write-off there. What happened? He says, I've never been at that farm as fast in my life.
There's a difference between fast and McRae fast, which we'll get to.
The circuit from that time, I mean, I did the circuit with the Magnum as well, and I finished one of the times we crashed out actually, but another we finished with first Group 1 car, so I have fond memories of the circuit. Yeah,
really well loved in Ireland as well, because when we put the kind of polls out for questions and all that for the podcast, the amount of people from Ireland that were actually asking about that rally as well was pretty good. So you obviously...
Well, I'm better known in Ireland than I'm in Lanark.
And then obviously the London to Sydney rally, tell us about that.
That came about, I'm not really sure how it all happened. The guy he came and asked if I would be interested.
Was it like an exhibition rally, or was it a proper?
Oh, it's a proper rally. Proper rally. Right. But you could rally. It was either historic cars, historic registered cars, or you could rally two-wheel drive cars, front-wheel drive. I think it was two-wheel drives up to 2 litre, but more or less standard engine, like Group N. You weren't allowed to turbo or do anything like that. Yeah. So it was a Toyota Corolla. So there were 3 of us entered in that rally, and it went well. We were actually leading down through from London. We went across and down through Europe, and where else did we go? We were around the way down, then right into the north of.
Was it all different terrains?
Different. Some was tarmac, some was gravel, some was really fast, some was circuit as well, as well. But then there were 1,000-mile road section on when we got to the north of Australia. And for some reason, the guy who was in charge said, no, it's to save fuel, we'll put the cars back onto the standard ECU.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened with my car, but instead of getting better fuel consumption, it was guts in the fuel.
Okay.
And what happened after that, it had overfueled and went into the second stage, third stage, and I thought, this engine's not right.
No.
And the engine actually, it didn't blow itself up, but it went on to 3 cylinders, then 2 cylinders, then we stopped. But then you could miss a stage or miss 2 or 3 stages. Yeah. Then you got a penalty for that.
Yeah.
But as soon as, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and we were asked where we could get an engineering shop, to take the head up. The mechanics took the head off, but it needed to be skimmed.
Yeah.
And they told us that in this village, small town, I can't remember the name of it, in the middle of nowhere, and we went and stopped at this place, and you went up this close into this backyard, and there was a guy sitting, he looked about 120-year-old sitting there, and there was scrap everywhere. There was wheels, there were tyres, there were bits of engines, there was everything, but there were some half-decent machines about. And we told them what it was, and right. And we said, we really needed to leave here tomorrow, maybe midday. Yeah. And this was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon the day before. Aye, okay, right. Aye, come back to tomorrow at 10 o'clock or whatever it was. And I walked out and I thought, never happen this. Well, went back, he had the head all done, and he said, I had to take that much off the head. I've made you a new copper gasket. He made a copper gasket. Wow. And the mechanics refitted that head, refitted the engine, and that car went better than ever it went. Jeez. And I spoke to a guy that bought that car. I spoke to him about 4 or 5 years later. I said, what happened with it? He said, I run it for 3 years and never had a problem with it. Wow. I'd have went straight back and found that guy a couple of times, some sort of lost job. I'm sure he would be dead. Oh, that's incredible. Sometimes you find that though, even like still in today's age, like if you really need like a specialist job done, there's not many specialists now, so you need to go to the depths to try and find these places. When you go into a backyard, an old tin roof, and you want a rally car fixed, you think this is not going to happen, but brilliant. Have you done any like kind of really overseas like rallies, like really kind of weird and interesting rallies that you've maybe turned up to? Well, that was weird and interesting, but I've done quite a lot in the European Championship. I finished runner-up in the European Championship one year. And did you find that a big step up when you moved to European stuff? I had put a load of deals together to do the European. It was 81, 82. I put a few deals together to go like Belgium or France. Yeah. But then it was when I was sponsored by the Rothmans team, and they saw that I was doing well, so they helped, and we did quite a few rallies after that. Went to Greece, Italy, where else did we go? But anyway, I finished runner-up in the championship, but if I had had the budget from Rothmans, for earlier in the year, I'm sure I could have won the European Championship as well. Brilliant. So you then have kids, and then the wife's already dealt with the issue with you moving from motorbikes now into rallying, and now you've got boys. And what drove the family then to moving into motorsport? Just watching you simply, or just watching? Right from the very start. With Colin, whenever he was age, he would be on the rallies, be on the rallies with the service guys and help. The photographs of him at 13-year-old, cleaning the windows and stuff. So we knew right away, and he had already been through bikes, schoolboy trials and schoolboy motocross. And very much like you, that was his focus, wasn't it? It was focused. Then Alistair was the same, but Alistair was more keen to stay on the bikes. Because I think at one time he thought it was going to be too hard an act to follow me and Colin.
Yeah.
So he was staying bike, but then he injured his knees on the bike.
Yeah.
And come into rallying, and so that's how it all happened. But when the boys were running the car, I had McRae Motorsport at the time. We were running the cars ourselves. But Margaret would be there in the back of the service van doing the baking butties and making the soup and stuff like that. So she was right into it then.
And what again, similar to yourself, what was the step from Colin kind of driving your own sort of cars and to then moving into sort of works rides and stuff like that?
Well, he came through, the Sunbeam, then the Nova. Some of the results he got, especially the Nova, some of the results he got with that car, it opened a few eyes, like Andrew Cowan, who was Mitsubishi, then obviously, Ford at that point. Then I had a contract with Ford, and they brought Colin in to drive the Group Ben car, but then he took on, the Group, it was the Group N, Group B car. So that's how that all came about, but back to what you asked about, running the cars yourself. Again, it was, at that time you were looking for sponsors and get people to come along. But I had quite a few contacts with having been in the sport for so long, so it was a wee bit easier for Colin, to get there. But some of the results he got with the Nova, it opened a few eyes, and I can remember David Richards of Pro Drive. It was David Richards. I was David Richards of Pro Drive. After the RAC one year, and Colin finished, I think it was my car actually, rolled it a couple of times, but it still finished a good result. And David Richards said to me, he says, you better come and speak to me.
You've got a bill to pay.
I said, right, and that was about Colin, and basically he said, look, we don't have the budget, but I think we'll put him in Subaru next year. And I said, well, what are you going to pay him? I said,
and he would have turned around and says, I'll match whatever you're paying him.
He says, no, it's okay. I said, well, I hadn't really thought about paying him. He says, I was just going to give him a drive and you would pay him. I said, well, I've paid enough, I can't afford it.
No.
And he said, what did you pay him? And he's working in the plumbing and heating. What wage did he get there? And I can't remember. Say it was 20 quid a week. Yeah. I said, well, he's made £25 a week. He says, well, I'll pay him that.
Jeez.
That's how it happened.
That's how it worked.
And it went from
you
there.
think it's these big deals sitting around the corporate table and there's things getting hashed out, whereas really you're just trying to save yourself 25 quid a week. when do you realise that you've got that incredible talent there and you're thinking, I suppose it's maybe one of the first time he maybe beats you or whatever, but what's the moment that you go, he's got something
on the Ford, when we were on the Ford contract, then there was once or twice, I can't remember what rally it was now, but he actually beat me, and I had quite a good rally, and I thought I think I'll need to forget about rallying for a wee while and concentrate on him. That's what I did. I just the following year I just took a back seat, but went hell bent and trying to get a programme together for him. Yeah. And that's how it happened.
It can be easier for you as well, but because that ultimately that passion started with you. It's your passion, and you're having to just completely take a back seat and
let them get going.
And if he's rolling your cars and all the rest of it,
I'll fix the damage well
exactly.
When I'm at home.
No, exactly. So Subaru was obviously it was majorly successful for you as a dad. How do you? Because there's a lot of young people wanting to become this rally driver and see the amazing life and lifestyle and everything you can get and what comes with that. But because he was have the potential of being that first British champion and being so young, how do you How do you even manage that situation? Because you get the two of them in rallying as well. So
by that time, Alistair was into rallying as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, the story there is, that. I could not rally. I couldn't do anything at that time because he was looking after two, and Alistair was just coming into it. But you've just got to get your head down and go on and do the best you can for them. But at the end of the day, it's up to them. They're sitting in the driver's seat. They're driving the car.
Yeah.
And there once or twice you can feel it throttling them for making mistakes, but we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But I mean, when Colin got that drive with Subaru and the legacy, I mean, he won the British Championship the first year in '91, then he won it again in '92.
Yeah.
It was. That was it. It wasn't costing me anything now.
No.
Go on with it.
And probably on a wee bit more than 25 quid a week.
He was getting a bit more than 25 quid a week then.
That's when you can start asking for big money back. Yeah.
The sad bit about the whole thing is that poor Alistair, Alistair, not many people know that Alistair won the British Championship as well.
No.
And Alistair won the British Championship the year Colin won the World Championship.
Aye.
So people didn't know about it.
They don't know about it.
It's a shame because, and
Christmas dinner must have been interesting that year. With the two champions sitting at the one table.
Aye. But again, it was all Colin. Poor Alistair just sat back, okay, I've not been British champion.
But was Alistair quite kind of laid back with that sort of stuff? Or was he really like, I want to do exactly what he's done?
He wanted to do exactly what Colin had done, and I think if he had got the right break at the right time. I mean, I more or less had a deal with him after he won the British Championship. I had more or less a deal done with him to join Malcolm Wilson Ford the next year. But I'm afraid Carlos Sainz put a kibosh in that because he didn't want a McRae in the same team. I was talking to Ford and Malcolm Wilson before, but then Carlos came along and he was going to get the other drive. But then the story came even down to, we had the overalls, the measurement for Alistair's overalls in front of us.
Jeez.
And then nothing happened. Then we got the story that, Carlos doesn't want a McRae, Alistair in the same team because Alistair would be discussing
things with Colin.
The discussing what was going on with Ford but I mean Alistair was more keen to beat Carlos Sainz or beat Colin McRae than anybody. He wasn't going to tell anybody anything.
No.
It was a wee bit disappointing.
Was that after? Because obviously Colin and Carlos's relationship
that was after
that time. Aye, so there was absolutely no secrets getting shared across the table then. And see that, I was watching stuff a couple of weeks ago just on that, and that looked like an unbelievably tense. It's okay having a colleague that you might not get along with, but this was on a completely different level because it was almost like Subaru at the time were trying to make that kind of number one and number two driver, and obviously Colin wasn't going to accept that at all.
No,
but
I mean, Colin drove a really fantastic rally. I mean, it was a rally that Carlos had done loads of times, and Colin was there and he was beating him fair and square. There wasn't much in it, but he was beating him. And of course, pro drivers think, they're going too fast, they're going to crash, they're going to do this, going to do that. Then we've got a lot of pressure from Spain that Colin should let him through. Then the team orders came, and you've seen it all. Colin wasn't for it.
No,
but at the end of the day, it made Colin more determined.
Yeah.
In the RAC rally, he was not going to get beaten in the RAC rally.
No.
And I don't know whether you remember it. One of the stages, Colin had a puncture and had to fix it and drop 45.
That's right.
He dropped a bit of time anyway, but on the next stage, Colin took something like 35 seconds off Carlos. Well, Carlos was complaining that Colin there must be a bad time there. And David Richards said to him, there's an in-car camera there, go and watch the 18 mile or whatever it was stage, go and watch it. You can time it yourself. But that, when Colin got that puncture, you can remember, I said, that's it now. He said, no, it's not. No, it's not.
They just awoken a monster inside them that was just.
And I think it's because of the team orders in Spain that it really made him.
I mean, getting people to even jump out in front of the car to slow him down and like all sorts of stuff. See, obviously because there was a couple of times I had watched it and they had interviewed Colin after it, and I think there was maybe one of the times where Carlos had broken down and they had just interviewed Colin just as he had come in, and they had asked like, what do you feel about that situation? He went, I just had like a little bit of a chuckle when I drove by, sort of thing. He's obviously got this persona to put in front of the camera, but see, at home behind closed doors, was he just like a machine just wanting to... What's he like at home at that situation?
He didn't get much out of him at home, actually. It was all on the event. Okay, talk about rallying, but it wasn't rally.
So he could just switch off when he came home? I just, when you're in that mindset, I just didn't know if that was something that you can do in that time, or is it you just need, it just needs to obsess your life. One of the questions I had, right, because I always find that people that are mega successful in their field, they always have like these rituals or these things that they do before they go and play football or whatever it might be. Did he have things that maybe people don't know about that was always a set? Did he eat the same food all the time? Did he do any of that sort of stuff? No. Just
not that I know of.
just one talented guy. So obviously you almost had that deal coming through with Alistair. So what happened with Alistair when that fell through? What happened to him?
What happened to him? Well, he went on and did another year with the what happened? 80, 95, 96. Oh God, I can't remember. No, he stayed another year with Volkswagen or with
the team that he was with previously. And then at the time, are you trying to, because obviously Collins just became champion as well, so are you trying to then get a second deal for Alistair, like running about trying to get that for the following year? Or
well, we've got the following year, we've got the deal with Hyundai, with Alistair. But that was a kind of trouble year. The car wasn't all that reliable, but I mean, put in some reasonable time. When the thing was going, it was going. But then he got the contract to drive the Mitsubishi. But by that time, we should have realised that they had gone from the Group 4 car to the Group B car. Is that right? Group B car. Aye. And the Mitsubishi was never as good after that. And Tommy Mackinnon, we should have realised that Tommy Mackinnon had left.
And that was the finish
left to go back to Subaru, or left to go to Subaru, and didn't stay on with the Mitsubishi. And we thought, in hindsight, we thought, Tommy knew what he was doing there. And the car never really worked all that well at all.
No.
And Alistair, he missed a couple of rallies. He had an accident on a mountain bike, burst his liver.
Jeez.
So that wasn't the best year that year.
No. McRae's just got to stay away from the bikes. That's just stay away from that. And then obviously we moved from Subaru, from then Colin joining onto Ford. That was massive at the time, because I think people. It was a kind of pre before my time almost. I'm obviously too young at that time, but looking at it, people thought Colin was just going to stay with Subaru at the time. And then obviously Ford's came out and.
Well, Ford had wanted them the year before. And
was that through your relationship sort of with Ford?
More or less, but they saw the potential with Colin, and then there was a new sort of team manager come in to Ford, and he was hell bent on getting Colin in the car. So and that's how the Ford deal came about. Aye.
And it's one of the nicest rally cars, like visually looking as well today. He didn't seem to get on with it as well as the Colin didn't seem to get on as well with that as the Subaru sort of thing. He seemed to...
No, there was... the first rally they did, I think he would have been second, Monte Carlo. I think he would have been second, but then they got disqualified because the water pump was the wrong water pump in the engine or something. But one of Colin's best ever drives was the first Safari rally with that car, where he hadn't even tested it on the gravel, and he won that rally, but he never won a stage. He just, like what I did in the Circuit of Ireland, settle at your own speed. They can do this. They can go 10 mile an hour quicker if they want. That's my pace. And you get to the really rocky hard bits, you take it that wee bit easier. And he never won a stage but won the rally. And I mean, that Ford were over the moon with that result. I mean, that was I think their third ever rally in a brand new car, and winning the Safari rally it was unknown, because the likes of Toyota, they spend millions, testing, for 3 months before the rally, and you go with a brand new car that they've never tested and win it. Yeah, that was a cracker.
See the rally cars at that time. What was the sort of cost in the cars involved at that time? Like say the likes of the Ford, how much are they putting in just for that one car to be doing that sort of event? What sort of money were they talking?
To be honest, I'm not really sure, but I mean, you're talking, well, probably you could build a Group A Sierra Cosworth at the time for maybe 50, 70 grand, a proper competitive car at that time. Whereas now you couldn't rebuild a Sierra Cosworth for historic rallying for that price.
No, 100%.
But still, when they were doing these big, longer rallies, the World Championship now is, 3 rallies, 3 stages done twice one day, 3 stages done twice the next day. But on the rallies back in these days, I mean, the Safari, where one of the stages was a 100-mile stage.
Wow.
One stage, 100 mile. Tell you a story about that as well. One of the times Colin won it in the Subaru, one of the stages, I can't remember, 100 kilometres or 100, a long stage anyway. And over there, he had, because of the heat, he drank a lot of water. And about 3/4 way through the stage, he said to Nicky Griss, Nicky, he said, I need a pee. Oh, right. Wait a minute. And there was this long straight. So Colin, 5th gear, left foot in the throttle, opens the door.
No way. Brilliant. That's unbelievable.
Nicky was saying, fucking 500 mile an hour. This guy's going to piss out the door. Oh!
That is incredible.
But the funniest thing about it was, on the door pocket of the car, they had some biscuits, some chocolate and stuff. He went into the service area. He said to the mechanic, I'm off that chocolate, you can have it.
Oh, brilliant. He just did not want to stop. That's obviously just his attitude. But did you go to these sort of things? So when he would go and do like rallies in Safari, would you be joining along?
I did what they call the gravel notes then.
Right.
I would run in the front of the rally, because that rally was it was open. It wasn't closed roads, and you could animals or people or so you went through it just before the car. Then you'd either radio back or double back to tell them, or I mean they probably did the recce for that stage maybe 4 days ago.
So it's always changed.
Then there'd be a lot of rain or whatever, so the notes would be completely different. So I did for 4 years, maybe 5 years.
So see when you're radioing back, you're not radioing to the car, you're radioing to the team?
We were radioing to the car at that time.
Right, okay. As they're in the stage behind you?
No, you would go make sure you're through the stage, before the stage started. The gravel note crews had to be through the stage before the stage started.
Because in my head there, I'm thinking, right, he's got to listen to co-driver, his own thoughts, drive the car and listen to what's going through.
No. You would go back with the notes and you would give them the notes, or if you couldn't get back, you would radio the changes to the notes. The co-driver, my co-driver would radio back to Colin's co-driver. Such and such, 10 miles, 10.2 miles in there, be careful.
Right, okay.
Big ruts, or half the road's washed away, or whatever.
Yeah. And this is obviously different, right, because it's what you're in tune to, but like, even in the way in here, somebody's talking to me on the phone and I'm trying to get myself in here, right, and I end up losing concentration and I'm like, not knowing where I'm going. See, when I watch these videos, right,
you wouldn't make a rally driver then?
No, definitely not, right? So that's what I want to ask. You see them driving some of these circuits, there's people running out in front of you, there's all sorts of stuff happening, and then you've got somebody sitting in the passenger seat trying to tell you what. Are you actually listening to what they're bringing in?
You're definitely listening. Once you're travelling down a stage at 100 mile an hour and you don't know what's over the crest, you're listening.
I the concentration to have that skill to be listening to what's going on here on your side and drive the car. Did you ever take a shot at the co-driving?
No. I did before I started rallying. Alan O'Neill, I bought the car from Alan O'Neill.
Right, okay.
He wanted me to co-drive for him. He wanted me to go and navigate, they called it then. He wanted to go and navigate for me. And I went down one night, he said, come on, we're going to try the car. And I went up round the back of Hamilton, up the East Kilbride and back, and I come back in and I thought, there is no way I'm going to co-drive sitting in the passenger. If I go rallying, I'm in charge.
You're in charge?
No, never.
Yeah, no.
I sat beside Colin in the Nova, first time, bought the Nova, did the Galloway Hills, and I sat beside him then.
How many arguments did you have then?
No, once or twice I'd just, whoa, steady on. But then one of the bits was coming down the side of the lock. I can't remember the name of the stage, and I remembered it. And no, it was sort of blind down. And I said, go, it's all right. And halfway down, he said, are you all right? Getting him to go faster, because before that I was trying to get him to go slower.
Jeez, oh. So as I said, we go through some questions. So I'm just going to ask you one here from Fred. So he's asked, was the Manta 400 your favourite car, and do you have any future plans with rallying, whatever it may be?
Well, the answer to the last question is I just renewed my licence today. Competition licence.
Oh, there you go.
Well, it's in the car ready to be posted, so there might be something going on. I don't know yet. It's 50 years ago this year, so I started rallying, so I need to do something.
Brilliant.
And I've had a competition licence now. That'll be 50 years now.
Wow.
So, but I don't know. It's
one of those things. It's been a part of you that long that as long as you're able to get that, you're getting that licence. And then the Manta, is that your?
I would say of the two-wheel, the last of the Manta was I would say the best two-wheel drive car. Yeah, definitely.
That was one of your favourites.
In fact, the one after the last time I drove it was a lighter one again, which I didn't drive in rallying, but I drove in tests, and I thought, it was even better than the last one I drove. Yeah. But of the two-wheel drive cars, and especially in tarmac, it was a great tarmac car.
Yeah.
Because the last Manta was, 300 horsepower, 285, 290 horsepower, and weighing under 1,000 kilos. So it was quite a tool.
Quite a quick car. Have you kept a lot of your cars? Like, have you?
No, I've got the Sierra Cosworth, and I've got a Vauxhall Magnum, but it wasn't my car. It was just one that was built up.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was a museum at the house.
I wish there was.
Then, obviously, round about this time as well is when the computer game came out, which was obviously Colin McRae game. That must have been that. If boyhood dreams of when Colin was coming through that, was that a thing that he was aspiring to be getting things like video games? Because obviously that was all coming out with sports stars at the time.
That was basically through a friend of mine it wasn't a friend, a guy that I knew, and he knew me, and he came and said, that they were wanting a name in rallying, and would Colin be interested? And I said, "Oh, definitely." But at that time, we never ever thought it would get to where it got to. First of all, when Colin went to America, one of the events he did in America, the kids in America didn't realise there was a real Colin McRae. So it was just a game.
You're kidding?
Oh,
that's amazing. Because the X Games thing all came about at the same time, didn't it? So they just thought that this was a video game character. That's unbelievable. Did you play that game in the house? Were you competing? Because that's what we did at Christmas time. We used to. I remember. I'll never forget it. We used to sit in the house and we used to have this little kind of table thing, steering wheel hooked on, pedals underneath, and then the whole family was trying to do the thing. Were you into that? Doing that sort of stuff?
I wasn't into that. I wasn't very good at it. I kept getting beaten with the boys, so I didn't do it.
No, aye, quit that quickly. And then obviously, you just said that America was that was sort of the next thing. Did you go to America with Colin?
I didn't go. No. I'm sorry about that.
No. Is that something you would have probably?
It was something I can't remember what was on at the time, but I didn't go the couple of times he was there.
It's one of the most, I think, iconic bits of commentary is when he flips that car and they're like, "Oh, we can't believe it's over, blah blah blah," and it's like, "Oh no, he's away again." It's like he literally brought the video game to life, and see that whole thing over there must have just have been
it was unbelievable.
A proper superstar. How did he like the fame? Is that something that he was enjoying, or did he kind of just want to get on with things? And
a lot of the time Colin just wanted to get on with things, but he saw the benefit of
course
doing that. I mean, especially when the game started, then the results and the interest that was on him, then he thought, "Oh, I better do my best here." So no, he did, but at first Colin was pretty shy to start with. Early on, you go about. You
see him in his interviews. He's not got a lot to say.
You keep telling him, "You're straighten your head up."
But you'd obviously been used to that because you've been in front of the press. You've done magazines and done all these things for promotional, for sponsorships and all that sort of stuff. And you probably just seen that where this has got the potential to go. So
Colin was a pretty shy young boy. He was
obviously quick, but I mean quick was as in banter as well. His one-liners were
once he gets started.
He was very clever. And then another question we've got. It was on one of these sort of forum pages. It's a guy called Ed Brett, and he says, "Colin jumping the dip, is it true?" And I'm assuming this is the moment with Nicky Gilchrist where he says it's whatever crest, then it's a dip, and he says. I can just take that as a one.
No, it was a crest, but there was a road come out
like in a crossroads,
on the bottom of the dip.
Yeah,
and that's when I was doing gravel notes for him in the forum, and they had said, he and Nicky Grist at the time said, "I think you could jump that. You'd save quite a bit of time there. You jump that," and he got me because they couldn't do it. One, there was a restriction in the speed at that stage, but because I was doing the gravel notes, he says, "Try it with a gravel car." He said, "See if you could jump that. So I tried to. I had a look at it 2 or 3 times, and Big Campbell Roy was good. So Campbell says, "I'll just get out here and I'll make sure the cars don't come up." So I did it, but
what car were you in?
I was in a recce car. I was in an Escort,
right? Okay,
one of the recce cars, which was like a Group 1 type car,
Okay, so it wasn't like a family SUV you were in.
So I'm afraid I wasn't very popular with Malcolm Wilson because I was maybe 5 mile an hour too slow, and instead of getting over the crest, it just caught the top of the crest and put the suspension up through the bonnet.
Jeez.
So Malcolm wasn't very happy. In fact, I got a letter from him telling me that he wasn't happy and this would cost so much.
Did you?
I says, well, have a word with Colin. Colin wanted me to do it. He's your driver.
He'll sort it. So see, when you're driving those cars ahead of the stage, have you got to almost drive it like it's going to be driven, not obviously to the full extent, but
you can't, because the roads are still open when you go through. So,
and that's why he's obviously stopping the traffic.
And that's the reason Colin didn't do it either, because the roads are still open. You know, and somebody could have come out that junction.
So see, at the moment that he decides to do that jump and just take that as the one, is that decision made in the car at the time, or are they saying in the background, as in the team bosses going, do not attempt that because we're going to have a red card in our hands?
Never discussed it with the team bosses. It was just me. And I said, well, I can't remember what speed I said I was doing. I was doing 75, 80 mile an hour. I said, you'll need to do 90 mile an hour to clear it. So he did it. He did it in this rally.
What speed was he doing? Do you know?
Well, I think it would be about 90 mile an hour.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Because there were a lot of people had heard about this and they went to spectate at it.
Oh, really? Did anybody else try it when they had... No, that just shows you, doesn't it? No. It just shows you. And then the kind of Colin, the car that the family that were working on, how did that all come about? How did you decide, right, we're going to start?
It was Colin, basically. Well, Colin discussed it with me as well, that, you know, there was Group N and Group A cars, and a Group N car, you know, say it was a good Group N car, Subaru or Ford or anything like that, it's going to cost you $100,000, but the Group B car is going to cost you, a Group A car it would be then, no, that's going to cost you $200,000. But he reckons he could build something at the same price-wise of the cheaper of the Group N cars that would be a worthwhile car, you know. And that's when the R4 came about. The design that, I mean, it was based on a Ford, not the Focus, the weird one,
Fiesta,
body shell. No, KA.
Oh, yeah.
And normally aspirated engine, 4-wheel drive, no electric diffs, no nothing like that. And basically, it had got about and had been to the British Rally Championship, and they were going to, if it was out and successful, they would run a championship for that car, a special championship for that, provided there were 6, I think it was 6 or more. Well, it had already sold 4. And, that car, the only time it ran in earnest was down at Goodwood on the gravel, and he was within, and that was very early stages of it, he was within half a second, a kilometre of Petter Solberg and the latest Subaru. So, the thing was going, and there were an awful lot of interest in it. But obviously it didn't happen. No, but the aim was that to put that into sort of production then?
And did you have any manufacturers kind of backing that, or was it basically just...
It was basically just, it was Colin, basically, initially. But, there was going to be an interest from Ford because, using a KA, using a Ford basic shell to start with. There would have been there definitely would have been interest, and there was, although they used a Millington engine in that, there was another couple of engine people very keen to get involved. So, but unfortunately...
Is there anything behind the R4? Is that just the name of it, the R4? Is there anything behind why it was called R4 or anything like that? No, just a kind of random name. I wasn't sure if it was the 4th attempt or whatever, and that was why it was R4 or anything like that. It was
just that 4-wheel drive R4.
Perfect. And then we have a last question, which is from Connor. What's your most memorable moment of your own career?
Quite a few. I think the first time I won the Circuit of Ireland was I had the big battle with Ari Vatanen, the Ford. And it was, we were never any more than, for the 500 or 600 stage miles, we were never any more than a minute apart. it was a real ding-dong battle at the finish-up. On the fourth stage, the first day, I made a mistake, which it was a downhill, it was a dip and back up the hill. Well, when it hit the dip, it pulled the steering out of my hand. Well, I went up the bank, over the hedge, into the field, rolled into the field, started the car, the grass was wet. I sent Mike Nicholson, I said, go and find the gate out of this bloody field. So he ran up and he was getting me to go round, instead of coming up this way, go round that way and go out. And as I was coming out of the gate, Billy Coleman passed the desk and he saw me coming out of the gate. He crashed it in the next corner.
You're joking.
He crashed up, but he kept going. But Ari had done a similar thing. He had a bit of an eye, but only like dropped a minute or a minute and a half. But then both of us at speed we were caught up. You know, we were like 5th, 6th, then 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, 1st, and he was like 20 or 30 seconds in front of us going into the last night, and near the very end, but I think it was the 3rd last stage or 4th last stage, in the dark at night. We're still not in notes at this time, we're not in base note, come along, and we hit a bump in the road, and the car was like that, and at the end of the stage I said to Mike Nicholson, I said, that's it. I said, we're going to settle for second. I said, this is going to go back. It was a bit of scrap. And as we drew up to the finish line, stop line, I looked at the back of Ari's car. I said, she's had an accident. I said, an accident. We've taken time out of him because he had just stopped as we stopped. And Mike says, well, we're leading. He says, because she started 2 minutes in front of us. He's dropped a minute and a half or so. I thought, yeah, bugger, good. Well, he had the same problem at the same bit, the same jump, but he lost it and spun, and he didn't roll. I don't think he rolled. I think he spun and reversed back into the bank because the back of the car was all damaged.
Right, okay.
And I thought, 3 stages to go, just quietly. And that was first circuit win, but it was a win that was a hard win, you know. It was flat out all the way. You know. And to beat, Ari went on to win the World Championship that year, so he was 4 days and 2 nights, 5 days and 2 nights battling with the guy that was a world champion.
It's that never give up attitude that must just run in the blood with you guys, and that's what I'm going to kind of finish it on. The legacy that's been left is incredible. Like we were talking about it earlier, like kids in America, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, like Colin's name is known and that McRae name is known. It's just a household name, doesn't matter who you speak to. Could you ever foresee that was going to happen, even this far on now? Could you? No, not really. Until the game came out, then till he won the championship, then the game came out. You think, well, but not to the extent that as I mean, even a couple of years ago was the McRae Challenge.
No, but there was something in Motorsport News about the most popular, or best rally driver, most popular. Of everybody, Colin was the one. So. Yeah. You must get like immense pride when, like said, the McRae Challenge is on at Knockhill or any of these sort of tribute things are on, and like to see that being there must just fill you with an immense amount of pride. And now we've got to work on Max.
So what's happening with Max? So he's done a bit in Australia.
He's done a bit in Australia. I mean, he's been go-kart champions in Western Australia for 4 years maybe. Then
I seen him in Knockhill. What was that? Maybe a couple of months back, and I says, "Don't tell me they've made you the go-kart instructor, because that's cheating." If that's happened. So he's done a bit of go-kart driving. What else is he up to?
Before he started rallying, but he's got potential as well.
Can you see?
A lot of people say that he's got the speed of Colin, but the brain of Alistair and me.
Yeah.
So
A good combination. And when I seen him at the McRae Challenge, obviously, again, he's jumping into a car that isn't his, that he doesn't know, never been like really round there in that car before, and then he just smashes it right off the bat. He's just
he's had a hell of a year last year on the junior European Championship. I mean, the team we picked, they made a backside of it basically. He made one mistake which cost him the rally, but the rest of the time it was mechanical, there was problems, and got them over to do the Jim Clark and broke a drive shaft 3 mile into the first stage, and started the next day and it broke a drive shaft again, and it's just been a disaster. But then I put the deal together and for to do the last round of the British Championship this year, put him in an R2 car, or a rally 2 car. He'd driven one at Knockhill. Hadn't driven in North Wales before, and his normal co-driver had to go back to Australia, so it was a new co-driver, and he finished runner-up, and on the 2 good stages he did, he was right there with the best of them.
So is he doing the British this year?
Hopefully, yes.
Hopefully. Full season?
Yeah.
That's the plan.
One of the rally down in Wales, the Cortigan, what do they call it? Second last round of the championship. It's also European Championship as well, so it depends. If he's in contention with the European Championship, he'll need to drive a R4 car in that event. But we're going to try and put him in an R2 car for all the other rounds.
We'll need to see about some Auto Perfect sponsorship and getting some clearing products for that as well.
So get this out, we need sponsorship.
Brilliant. Jimmy, this has been an absolute pleasure. There's about 10-20 other questions that I wanted to ask you, but we're only limited to this hour space. I think as long as you've enjoyed it,
it's
good. We can try and do a wee part 2, but guys, if you're listening to the podcast or if you're watching it on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe, please make sure you hit that follow button and follow us across all the social media platforms on Auto Perfect. And Jimmy, thank you very much for the podcast. Cheers.